Happy Monday, all you minties. This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for an advanced look at the Incredible Hulk by Peter David Omnibus Volume 2 from Marvel Comics, so please stay tuned. Of course, before I get started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. This omnibus is due out in the direct market on October 28th. And of course, the direct market, as I always like to remind people, are places like comic book stores, cheapgraphicnovels.com, Tales of Wonder, In-Stock Trades, just to name a few. So yes, this book comes out on October 28th. I have volume 1 here just to do a little comparison to look at what the spines look like together. You can probably tell from right there that it is a curved spine, so no more flat spine conspiracies. And then the back of both books. The book retails for $125, the same price that Volume 1 retailed for. By the way, for those of you all asking me about Volume 1, it is currently out of print. I had to triple check because it went out of print a couple of months ago, so it is getting a little bit harder to find. Volume 2 might have a smaller print run, so just in case for those that are wondering about pre-ordering. This is the standard edition cover, and the direct market cover is this one here. The direct market cover is from issue 376, if I'm not mistaken, and 393 is the standard edition cover that you see over here, if memory serves me right. However, my memory at my age has failed me so often. Now let's look at it under this dust jacket. This is awesome. So in the front, the Hulk's face by Del Keown. And then the back of his head. I think it's from a poster book, if I'm not mistaken, that came out in the 90s. But that's a really cool under the dust jacket art on the actual board. That's pretty cool. Now, before we even go inside here, I just want to remind you all to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We put out videos every day. Check out our Patreon. It's a great way to support the channel if you can do so. And thank you to our existing patrons. Now, let's say we get this opened. So we have this sky blue bookend pages like we did with Volume 1. And here is all the credits. And down here on the left page at the bottom left-hand side, it's a little hard to read, but here are all the wonderful folks that put this collection together. So you have Jennifer Grunwald, Maya Loy, Lisa Montalbano, Joe Hochstein, and Mark Beasley. But then there's also a research by Alex Lear. Then you have Jeff Youngquist, of course, Jeff York. Adam Del Rey is the book designer, and then, of course, David Gabriel. It's a little harder to see because it's this dark blue on gray. And this outfit of Hulk, I swear, it never grew on me. I don't care if it was Del Keown that designed it. Sorry, I had to adjust my angle a little bit. Speaking of Del Keown, that's who teams up with Peter David on most of this book. He had about a little over 2 years of a run on Incredible Hulk. So he kicks off with the Grey Hulk again, and he's fighting the Freedom Fighters, which really were just the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants employed by the U.S. government. And so you've got Blob, Mystique, Destiny, Crimson right there, Pyro, Avalanche, and who's the Speedster? I can never remember the Speedster's name. But yes, Hulk is gray during this time. So collected in here too is the Lifeform Annual. Part 1 I think was in the Punisher, if I'm not... Yeah, right here. Punisher, Daredevil, and Silver Surfer. But the interesting thing to note about this annual is that this is Angel Medina's first time drawing the Hulk, who will eventually take over the Hulk run, especially like during the time of Onslaught. And then eventually he was the artist on Adam Warlock and the Infinity Watch. And then he went over to Image to draw this little title called Spawn. I swear, man, like McFarlane knew how to draw the people from this talent pool that Marvel had. This right here is one of my most favorite underrated artists that no one ever talks about, and that is Chris Wallsniak. He did a little bit of the art in here. And I know his art is not for everybody, but he had a run on, what was it, Excalibur. Unfortunately, it was after Alan Davis, so everybody immediately thinks, well, that guy's not Alan Davis. And then he did Justice League International. Oh, man, the Dark Hulk storyline. So it's pretty much catching up with his Defender buddies, with the exception of Silver Surfer. He'll show up later during the Infinity Gauntlet crossover event. And this is where Doctor Strange accidentally lets out this Dark Hulk creature. So long before Red Hulk, Blue Hulk, Purple Hulk, and Green. No, not Green Hulk. He's always been green, gray. Sorry. Where was I? All right, let's talk about what this collects. So this collects issues 369 all the way to 400 of the Incredible Hulk. So we are past those visionaries. We are all the way towards the very beginning of the Ghosts of the Past Epic Collection. So it kind of double dips a little bit there. It also collects the annual 16 and 18 and X Factor 76, which is part of the War and Pieces crossover. There's also the material from Marvel Holiday Edition Special from 1991. This is the cover that I wish they had used, but that's just me. Yeah, they went with this awesome cover and the one for $3.93, but this is just, I think as a kid I always liked that cover, and it got a couple of printings too. So the Hulk is going through some changes, and you'll notice not just in the color of his skin, but also his facial features, and they're about to change, and I'm not going to spoil why it is, but there is an inner turmoil going on within Bruce Banner. It's the Gray Hulk and the Green Hulk, and for those that have not read it, I'm not going to tell you the differences, but a new Hulk emerges towards the end of this book. And see his face? It's the face that you see in the cover. It's a lot different than this savage-looking Hulk that you're probably used to seeing. And when he first started out, like when he first started taking over the book, I remember he had a very John Byrne kind of art style. And you can tell from his faces. But then he developed his own thing. This is the Bill Jaska issue right here. It's a fill-in issue. Nothing wrong with fill-in issues. There's still some great art in here. Then we go back to Del Keown telling his story with Peter David. Oh man, Margot Chandler, that is Rick Jones' girlfriend. Man, the way Del Keown drew her and Betty, woo. Anyway, where was I? It's not just fill-in artists, but there's also a couple of times that's a fill-in writer. Like this one here is a Men Thing by Tom Fields. So it's Peter David taking a little bit of a break, or maybe he was just falling behind because he was getting ready for this crossover that's about to happen. So you can always tell when somebody else was inking Del Keown stuff. Towards the beginning of his arc, it's Bob McLeod, and then Mark Farmer ends up inking his stuff. Mark Farmer was Alan Davis's inker for a long time. He didn't belong to Alan Davis. He just inked a lot of his stuff. But Joe Rubinstein would come in, and you can kind of tell there was a different inker at the time, because most of the time he was teamed up with Bob McLeod. The book, by the way, has 1,048 pages, and here is where he joins the Pantheon. And now we get to the War and Pieces crossover. This is the crossover with X Factor. It's not the classic X Factor team of Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, Angel, and Beast, but it's, as of issue 71, when Peter David took over the X Factor book, it is this team right here of Havoc, Polaris, Multiple Man, Quicksilver, Strong Guy, and Wolfsbane. And there's this, of course, a crossover with the two books that he is writing. And I love this crossover. I love the issue 76 of X Factor, which is drawn, I think it's a fill-in artist, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's Tom Rainey that draws the artwork in that issue. Yes, this one here. The cover's by Larry Stroman, but Tom Rainey draws the inside of it. Now, let's keep moving. It's kind of hard to talk about the stories in here without spoiling anything, because there are some horrible things that happen here with Rick Jones' mom, with Margot, and towards the end of the run, the Ghost of the Past is when you'll see, yes, right here. Oh, this is the Punisher team up, if I'm not mistaken. And then it all ends with this 4-part event called Ghosts of the Past. And I can't talk about what it is because, like I said, there were some bad things that happened. But I will say that Del Keown only draws 2 issues of this before he takes off. This is actually 398 is his final issue. And he takes off to go and create this character known as Pitt for Image Comics. But we have Jan Duursema that takes over his run. And she is a phenomenal artist. She eventually went on to draw X Factor with, was it J.M. DeMatteis, I think, who was the writer at the time. But, you know, she was kind of mimicking a little bit of what Del Keown was trying to do, especially in the, can't show that cover, but especially here in the 400th issue. And this is also drawn by Chris Bacalo. He's also found here because there's a couple of chapters. There we go. So it's one of the earliest Chris Bacalo's work, and he's the guy that did some Sandman issues. He's the one that did Death, the High Cost of Living with Neil Gaiman. And that's where this omnibus ends. Let's look at the extras here in the back. because how could we forget this awesome Arthur Adams Marvel Holiday Special? Now we can get to the extras. So the extras have this border that I've noticed. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm doing so many overviews that I've noticed borders more and more. But here's the second printing of issue 377, the second printing of issue 393. By the way, the first printing, or the original printing, had a chromium background to it, so it was like a glowing green cover. How cool would it have been to see that on an omnibus? Man, maybe I'm just digging myself a hole there, because I don't know if I really want limited print runs of these books. Here is another cover of the 400th issue. Some interviews. Then, of course, you got Fred Hembeck's page. And some more house ads. Marvel Age 118. And is that Kevin? I think that's Kevin Nolan, who has a similar style to Mike Mignola. But yeah, that's Kevin Nolan. Oh yeah, the swimsuit edition, baby. I think that's the only one by Del Keown, if I'm not mistaken, during this time. It's like Betty, Margot, Rick. There is another character I didn't talk about because I don't want to spoil things, but that is, what is his name? James, who is one of Rick's friends. And there's a powerful issue that will happen in the third omnibus if they continue this. And I would love for that to happen. And man, that issue is way ahead of its time. But the revelation of why that happens are found in these pages here. There's the poster book, the poster magazine I was talking about. Damn, even Wizard had variant covers? Did I know that? But that's Sam Keith right there, who had drawn an issue of The Incredible Hulk in the first omnibus of the Peter David run. And here are the trading cards during the time. House ad and an original pages. I'm not flipping through the whole thing, just letting you know. Trade paperbacks that I've collected the material in here before. A forward and an afterword by Peter David from the original trade paperbacks. These are the Visionaries. And even the X Factor Visionary in there. Love that cover. And, you know, Del Keown's actually one of these. Oh, this is Jen Bartel. Okay, so this is a cover to Marvel Tales Hulk 1. So it collects issues of Hulk 324 and 377 and Savage She-Hulk 1. So, but I was going to say, Del Keown is one of these artists that has actually come back and drawn the character and teamed up with Peter David a couple of times, like the End story and then the one that came out last year. Now, let's look at the binding. You could probably tell that it was sewn binding. There's that eye we're looking for. Like I said, a curved spine, making it for no gutter loss and for a perfect reading experience. Hello, Margot. As far as the paper quality, it's the same as Volume 1. It's the same as the last couple of years of Marvel Omnibus, so it's what you come to expect. But that is Incredible Hulk by Peter David, Volume 2. Now, when the book comes out, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off the cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. And check out their bargain bin for even greater deals up to 90% off cover price. And for you Minties, Cheap Graphic Novels is running a special promotion. If you're a first-time customer, let them know you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the page count, the build, and the content of the book. Let me know in the comments down below if you are following the adventures of Incredible Hulk by Peter David in omnibus format. If you're happy with the Visionaries, or if you're going to upgrade those into Epic Collections when they come out. More importantly, how many of you all want to see all of Peter David's Incredible Hulk collected in this omnibus format? Yes, please. It is my favorite Incredible Hulk run. So I would love to see all of his run collected in omnibus format. So at this moment, I just want to remind you all to please hit that like button. Don't forget to ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? We put out videos every day. We can be found on Redbubble and on Patreon. Those are great ways to support the channel if you can do so. And more importantly, please everybody stay healthy, stay safe, and much love to all of you.